a couple of bangs, and then 15 minutes later, about 30 cops were all down the street with, tape and in the parking lot.
Neighbors in two different parts of the city woke up to gunfire that left 2 men dead. The violent night in the Rose City is our top story here at 5 o'clock. Good evening, I'm Laurel Porter. In addition to the deadly shootings, police are investigating a suspicious death near Mall 205. Mike Benner is looking into these cases for us. Mike, have detectives made any arrests?
Yes, they have, Laurel. Within the last half hour or so, we've learned that detectives have made an arrest in the deadly shooting in southeast Portland. The suspect is identified as 38-year-old Christopher Gross, and he's facing charges of murder in the second degree and unlawful use of a weapon. As far as the shooting across town in northeast Portland, no suspects have been identified yet.
Northeast 42nd and Prescott in the Cully neighborhood, as Hudson, who lives nearby, told us. A pleasant place to call home.
Just a lot of business, a lot of walking traffic. All of our neighbors are pretty close-knit and try to keep each other safe.
It makes what happened late Thursday night all the more troubling. Police say just before midnight they responded to reports of a shooting. Hudson recalls hearing 2 shots.
It sounded higher pitched than a normal, I'm not gun savvy. I know a little bit about guns, but it sounded more like a firecracker. That's how high pitched it was.
Regardless, the gunfire ended in a man's death. Who pulled the trigger, though, is a mystery. Officers were unable to locate a suspect.
It's awful, right? But as a trans Jewish person, I think there's a lot of things that make me feel unsafe on a daily basis, but yeah.
About 2 hours later, police responded to another shooting, this time near Southeast 84th and Taylor in the Montevilla neighborhood. Officers found a man dead there as well, and a second man who's believed to be involved in the shooting.
Adding to the detectives' caseload is what happened near Southeast 96th in Maine. We're told on Thursday evening, officers were conducting a welfare check in this area, and they found a man dead down an embankment. They're calling this a suspicious death based on what they found.
As police await the results of an autopsy on the man found dead near Mall 205, detectives search for a suspect in the deadly shooting back in the Cully neighborhood. People living in the area hoping for an arrest sooner rather than later.
Some resolution for whatever that means to the people that it matters to.
All right, back to the suspicious death near Mall 205 for a moment. Authorities tell me they don't believe that's a result of a shooting. That means the total number of deadly shootings in Portland this year is 3. We had the 2 overnight and the one earlier this week outside a 76 gas station in northeast Portland. Laurel.
Thank you, Mike. Oregon State Police found about 10 pounds of suspected methamphetamine and about 5 pounds of suspected powder fentanyl inside an SUV last night. A trooper found the drugs during a traffic stop north of Bend on Highway 97. During the stop, the trooper noticed signs of criminal activity and searched the SUV. The K-9 alerted the trooper to an odor and found where the drugs are hidden. The driver has since been taken into custody and is in the Deschutes County Jail. Law enforcement also found methamphetamine during a different traffic stop earlier this week in Corvallis. On Wednesday, shortly after 1 a.m., a Benton County deputy stopped a car on Alta Vista Drive near Grant Avenue. The deputy found 130 grams of methamphetamine. The driver was taken to the Benton County Jail, cited for DUI and a felony, among other things. Now to the homeless crisis on the Oregon coast and the dilemma cities there have. Now here's a live look at our Chinook Wind Skycam in Lincoln City. And that's where the king tides are moving in. Those tides are forcing homeless people to pack up and move. A lot of camps there sit in lower elevation areas, so they run the risk of flooding during these types of tide events. Many people who are homeless in Seaside camp here at the Mill Ponds Natural Area. You see they're right next to the water there. Recent rainstorms caused large puddles to form around many of the tents, and the king tides that are coming could make things even worse.
So they are asked to move and go to higher ground, but unfortunately there's not that many places to go.
Yep, you got to pick everything up and move from here to over there, and then a couple months later they might let you back over here with tents.
People living at that campsite in Seaside say it's all too common for tents to float away during extreme tides. Now many of the homeless people there are moving their sites to a nearby recycling center. New tonight, more affordable housing is now under construction locally to try to give some relief to the housing crisis. The apartments are expected to open in Oregon City this summer. The goal is to make a home for a diverse community. Tim Gordon has a closer look at the plan.
From the air, you can see the progress on 4.5 acres near Highway 213 and South Beaver Creek Road. This will eventually be 174 units of affordable housing, much needed in Oregon City. It's called Las Flores. It will be 7 buildings encircling an open green space at Community Center building.
The design itself speaks tremendously as to what we're trying to accomplish.
Ernesto Fonseca leads Hacienda Community Development Corporation. He says they're trying to create more than just a place to live, and that starts with lots of outdoor space for people of all ages to be together, says Eric Payne of Community Development Partners, the other group involved in the project.
And the ability to have like walking trails and outdoor amenities and access to nature right outside your door, that was a really important component, given that the project was otherwise like bounded by roads.
And more than that, it's going to bring communities of all ages to that central space, to the community center.
The same collaboration and design model created affordable housing in Gresham that opened last summer. Rockwood Village Apartments is also built around bringing people together with grass and gardens and a community center that hosts classes and gatherings for residents young and old. So too will Las Flores, which is for those who make from 30 to 60% of the area median income. To make a place for everyone, units go from 1 to 4 bedrooms. There will be 12 apartments here reserved for those who work agricultural jobs in Clackamas County. Another 9 units for those at risk or transitioning out of homelessness.
All of these pieces are pieces that our hope, will be empowering as well as giving the opportunity to individuals to grow and keep moving forward.
For now, construction keeps moving forward as Las Flores works toward a summertime opening for a new community. In Oregon City, Tim Gordon, KGW News.
Funding for the project comes from several sources, including Metro's Affordable Housing Bond Fund. People can apply to live at Las Flores starting this spring, and we have a link to their website at kgw.com. This week, state economists reported Oregon is seeing a strong job market with many sectors bouncing back from the pandemic. Despite a slight rise in the unemployment rate this summer, employers added thousands of new jobs in December. Overall, in 2022, employers added more than 81,000 jobs. However, not every industry is going back to normal. The mortgage industry, for example, has taken a hit. We talked with 2 senior loan closers and an underwriter who say they've been out of work since last summer.
Everybody's saying inflation's getting better, and it is, but it's not for our industry. Our industry is, for the most part, based on interest rates. And as you know, last year, interest rates literally doubled from 3.5 to over 7, and which follows suit with people not wanting to borrow because they either can't afford it, especially first-time home buyers.
Other sectors that are struggling to get back to pre-pandemic employment levels include education, leisure and hospitality, and other parts of the service industry. An art project meant to spread peace didn't quite hit the mark. In fact, many in Portland's bicycling community are upset about it. Stephen Redland talked to the artist to get to the bottom of the peace bike controversy.
Yeah, a guy pulled up over here in a little red car and took the bike out and set it right there.
Joel Miller is right across the street on North Albina, where a new artistic installation went in a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you assume that it's for someone that has died in like an accident.
It isn't one of the ghost bikes that mark where a cyclist was hit and killed. It's actually an artistic public peace display by the artist Dr. Nick.
It's all about see peace, think peace.
After a positive response in Florida prompted him to make more, maintain them, and travel across the country to place them at stops along the way,
Today, we are at the Oklahoma City Memorial.
His Spectacle for Peace efforts crossed the entire country, ending in San Francisco. When he moved to Portland to be close to family, he wanted to share the spectacle here.
I'm out for peace, love, laughter, joy.
Peace is his message, but when many folks see the peace bikes, they think it's a ghost bike, and the negative reaction poured in when Bike Portland first posted about this. A victim's family member saying, "This honestly hurts." Others ask him to please use a different color for your bikes.
I know about ghost bikes, but And I sympathize totally with all the comments that have been made.
Dr. Nick says he regrets that his art is showing a message he did not intend.
And one of the things I'm doing is taking the bikes off the street.
There you go.
Off we go.
For Dr. Nick, these bikes were meant to do good things.
I've got negative juju being shot my way, when usually it's positive. And I apologize to everybody because they got a legitimate gripe.
His art will be back.
You got to keep it positive. Peace.
He's a creator and needs to create, but the spectacle of peace will be changing its look.
Maybe they should cut paint a different color maybe than the white.
I'm Stephen Redland, KGW News.